The future of sober housing in Barnstable and the Renewable Energy Commission has some changes in leadership as it draws closer to a plan for solid waste disposal. On this episode of Barnstable Today, it's Tuesday, June 19th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Monday evening, Amanda Converse stepped down as chair of the town's Renewable Energy Commission.
I really apologize. I didn't know that I would be so incredibly busy, and so being the chair is just not possible for me right now. So I'm hoping that somebody else can.
That's good news, right? You're helping the economy of Barnstable.
I hope so. Oh, it's not my store. That's
Store.
No, it's all the other volunteer things that I do.
All right. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But it is it's gotten to be a lot. So, and I feel like I'm not giving enough to the committee, and I would rather if somebody who was able to give it the attention it deserved was leading it.
Converse says her various other volunteer positions are keeping her much too busy to continue to devote time to chairing the commission. Allison Alessi was voted unanimously as the commission's new chair, and Dan Dre was voted in as vice chair. Jan Rapp will continue as the clerk. Those votes were made at Monday's meeting. The town's recycling efforts are getting a boost, as Energy Coordinator Richard Elrick explained.
There's lots of recycling that is going on around Town Hall now. There's been some monies found so that every office has a recycling bin, and there's a part-time person that's been hired to make sure that it all gets retrieved and disposed of properly. So this is, it's taken a long time getting Town Hall as up to speed as we all would like it to be on recycling, but I really got to give credit to DPW, to their structures and grounds, and Mark Ells, and for finding the money and to having someone hired to really assist with it.
Elrick also mentioned that energy prices for some electric consumers will be going down.
Just this last May 24th, the Cape Light Compact announced new energy prices, electricity prices, that are as low as they've been in probably since 2005. And for a residential customer, the basic rate is now 6.68 cents a kilowatt hour. For the small commercial customers, 6.67 cents per kilowatt hour. And for large industrial users, again, 6.676 cents per kilowatt hour. Those are the basic electricity rates. And for those of us, and I hope that most of you guys who are purchasing Cape Light Compact green energy, the price is there for a 50% purchase of green energy is 7.58 cents. This is for residential customers. Again, this is Cape Light Compact Green, 50%, 7.58 cents. And if you purchase a 100% green product, it's 8.28 cents.
The board is continuing to work on the future of solid waste disposal here in Barnstable. A presentation will be made to Town Council in July. Elrick says the town can learn from what Falmouth is working on.
One of the things that's been kind of interesting, as we analyze the whole page throw concept from the drop-off perspective and from the curbside perspective, I think we all agree it's easier to figure out the numbers with the drop-off program. Curbside is much harder. It's really, ultimately, to get good cost numbers, it's going to require some kind of an RFP for the town to issue to really get a sense of it. But you can get a general idea on costs by looking at what the other 50-plus Massachusetts curbside communities are charging for their user fee and for their bags. And for example, in Falmouth, presently, without a pay-as-you-throw program, their cost per household is about $128 per household, which is pretty low. I was impressed with that number. They have their total MSW recycling budget is $2,700,000, and they have 21,000 households. So, and that works out to a per household fee of $128, which was quite low, I thought.
So let me guess that they don't have districts or zones, and it's one hauler.
They don't, yeah, that's absolutely true.
The county's regional waste reduction coordinator, Dave Quinn, spoke to the board Monday.
Right, so I think in talking to some of my colleagues around the state who are the coordinators for different regions, I think one of the problems that you're going to run into, or the questions you're going to get from the town council is, what are going to be the numbers for curbside? because you're not really going to know what the actual costs are going to be until you actually talk to some haulers or put it out to bid. So I think that's going to be your biggest question in terms of implementing a curbside program. Also, another thing to think about is going from a situation where you have most people using private haulers to going to a townwide curbside program, and then on top of that a pay-as-you-throw, I think is a pretty big change. So there's going to have, like Richard mentioned earlier, in the Worcester, Falmouth, there needs to be a ton of education that goes into this. So that's going to be a huge component of it. But I think it's going to come across as a very big change for a lot of people, and so I think you should definitely need to be prepared to address the implementation side of things and how this will actually work in practice.
The Renewable Energy Commission expects to make a presentation on its findings to Town Council July 19th. The Barnstable Housing Committee met this morning, and among the items on the agenda was a discussion about the future of drug and alcohol-free housing. Committee Chair Paul Hebert opened the discussion.
Massachusetts Department of Public Health coordinated with the Bureau of Substance Abuse in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There was a legislation asked or requested that there be a study made of the sober houses within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, of which one of the biggest groups, if you will, is the Oxford House model, which simply says that people with addictions who are living in sobriety agree to live together. They're chartered, and we have 114 beds throughout the whole Commonwealth of Massachusetts that are considered Oxford houses. Then we know that there are others that have generated both for-profit and not-for-profit within the Commonwealth. And part of this study, which was a fairly lengthy study that the Bureau did, is that substance abuse houses are not licensed. And the Bureau only licensed rehabs that need to be licensed. And there's no move or thought of really licensing drug and alcohol-free houses. The federal government, under the Fair Housing Act, has just kind of put out there that communities should welcome drug and alcohol-free housing, and that they shouldn't do anything to try to stop a house from being declared a drug and alcohol-free house, but that they should use all of the local laws and rules and regulations and codes to make sure that the housing is safe for the residents, and also that the rights of the residents are protected. And that was mostly with the licensure of the programs. So if they require somebody to live in a drug and alcohol-free house, and if the resident is required to go to a program, that program has to be licensed. So they can't be a maverick group out there saying, we have this kind of program that you're going to go to that they're running, if it's not licensed. Outside of that, the other requirements are living in the house, drug and alcohol free, attending house meetings, taking care of chores, and doing their share. So the model is seen as a very healthy model, but we need to be aware of that safety has to be a primary concern. So when we hear anybody wanting to create, whether for-profit or not-for-profit, a drug-free house, we want to make sure that they're safe houses is the bottom line.
Hebert says he hopes to see more sober housing available in Barnstable in the future. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.